How does a warrior get over his resentments? Welcome back, my friend. I hope you're having a great day. As usual, let's get straight into it. Now, before I pop this off, understand that I'm not a wise dude, okay? I'm not some intelligent guy that has all this spiritual knowledge, so that puts me on like this pedestal. I'm just a guy, a father, lover, friend, brother, son, that just went through some experiences, and through this YouTube channel, I just like to share what has helped me. Now, throughout my life, a lot of you know, of course, with the theme of my channel, martial arts, fighting, boxing, shadow boxing, whoop, whoop, whoop. I was always trying to look for the ways to make the body strong, to have extreme physical endurance, the ability to move and groove and just stay sharp within the chaos of fighting, whether it was on the streets or in the cage, didn't really matter, man. And just this journey of being a martial artist, a warrior, it led me into deeper principles. And no matter what, when you look back in history, every great warrior, every great martial artist always found their way to spirituality. Now, when I was really looking into it and how to make this body stronger, one thing that I really got keen to was resentments and things like trauma. Now, everything I'm about to tell you is based upon my filter, my experiences. So there's many different ways, all right? But this is the most easiest way I can package this up for you following me, watching this video. You probably resonate with the things that I say, so this may help you out, all right? You can try it out. Now, when it comes to resentments, as I said, a lot of people, they just have like body aches. Some people are just not as flexible. Sciatica, knee problems, ankle problems, neck problems. A lot of it comes down to your thoughts. As I always mention, your body is just a physical representation of your mind, okay? Now, your mind, whatever you're thinking, understand your body is a physical representation of what you constantly think, say, and do. It's not just like you think one thought and, it's just gonna appear on your body. No, it's just your body is a container of all of your thoughts, and it's a physical representation of the thoughts that you currently hold. So a lot of people that I've seen that have all these body ailments, especially like neck joint pains, a lot of it comes down to resentments, criticism, judgments, and just, you can say, almost childhood traumas. Okay, so I'm going to get into the lines of this. Now you got to understand, the way I've understood how to really sink deep into the subconscious mind and to really find these resentments is you got to kind of sit quietly. You got to find some time to sit with yourself, and then you got to close your eyes, okay? Close your eyes, and you got to ask yourself, okay? What are things, what are situations, people, places, things that happen to me that piss me off or that I don't like? When you ask yourself this question, of course, like a memory is going to pop into your head. How do you know you didn't let go of this situation? Because the memory popped into your head. And a lot of times when this memory pops into your head, it's going to trigger these emotions. And these emotions are going to trigger certain sensations in your body. Okay, like I said, the body is just a physical container for your thoughts. So a lot of times when you're thinking about these resentments, you're thinking about these people that wronged you. It could be 60 years ago. You're going to think of these situations. You're going to think of these people. Then you're going to feel like this. If it's anger, you're going to feel this heat. You're going to feel this, your blood start to boil. Your arms, your fists, your jaw is going to start to clench. You're going to start to feel angry. You're going to physically, you're going to see it. Like I said, it's easy to read people. So because emotions are going to physically manifest itself on this body, and you're going to start animating yourself in a way that will express this emotion, especially when you try to repress it. So you got to sit down, you got to ask yourself this question: what are things that really I can't get let go of? What are these people that I fucking hate, these people that did me wrong? And you got to vividly, in your imagination, you got to think about it, and you got to understand, like I said, okay, your body is a container and a physical representation of your thoughts. Once you start thinking about these thoughts, okay, you're going to feel these sensations. You got to understand that, as I said, I'm going to repeat it. Your thoughts are just in there, and your body is a container for these thoughts. So when you start thinking about this person or place or thing or this situation, you're going to feel certain sensations. It could be in a certain area. If you have a lot of resentment and anger, it's going to be a lot of back pain, because of this anger kind of correlates to the root chakra, the bottom, the base. And you're going to feel this, like, just these nerve pinchings in your bottom half, because it's the foundation. A lot of anger is expressed through your legs. When you're sprinting, when you're jumping, a lot of violence is started in those bigger muscle groups. All right, so when you start feeling these sensations, you start thinking about the person, you start imagining it. You thought you let it go, but a lot of times when you're in your imagination, you're thinking about these people that fucking did you wrong. You start feeling the sensations. And what you got to do is, you got to just kind of imagine the situation, what happened, then you got to catch yourself. This is like the thing with Shaolin monks. It's about awareness and being aware of what you are thinking. A lot of times you're going to slip off. Like I said in the previous video about hypnotic rhythm, a lot of times when you get into your imagination, you get these certain thoughts, it's going to create habits, and these habits create this hypnotic rhythm where you don't even know that you're thinking. You don't even know that you're thinking about these fucked up situations, and like you're having this emotional trigger, and it's a hypnotic rhythm. Next thing you know, 2 hours pass and you're just like, damn, I was just thinking about this situation for 2 hours. I was mad and it didn't really happen. It was just in my imagination. So you got to think of this person, place, or thing, all right? And you got to catch yourself in your imagination, in your awareness. And then what you have to do is you have to look at the person, the situation, in your imagination, and you got to forgive that person. That's all it is, dude. You got to forgive and you got to love. A lot of these things are in your own imagination. Yes, there's some things that happened to you that people did you wrong. Like for me, I had some traumas growing up. One of the main ones was, because I was smaller, I was always getting picked on. So people always fucking jumped me, beat me up. And, for a long time, I held on to a lot of anger. And I had to go into my imagination. And I had to just forgive these people. I had to kind of come to the understanding that these people that jumped me, these people that picked on me, these people that beat me up, they were bigger than me. They knew they could beat me up. I was younger. I was maybe like 5 years younger than them. They beat me up. I had to forgive them, and I had to understand that even though I'm holding on to this pain, this situation, and I'm training hard every day just so when I see this motherfucker again on the street, I'm gonna really show him up. I had to understand that this guy could be living on his life, like just going about his life, like fucking making money, hanging out with chicks, like living his best life while I'm over here being angry. And I really, really had to understand that. You gotta just forgive. You gotta forgive, and you gotta forgive. You gotta continuously forgive. Now understand that when you have these resentments, I will repeat it, the body is just a container for thoughts. It has memory. Like I said with this scar in the middle of my face, see that scar? When you ask me about that scar, a memory will pop up. And if I, speak about the memory long enough, I'm going to start feeling sensations. I'm going to remember the pain of how I got that scar, remember how it felt like when it was getting stitched up, what I ate after. It's going to start sending these physical sensations when I continuously think about that thought. So same thing with you. When you have these resentments, sometimes when you go into your imagination, like what I just said, you forgive the situation, you forgive the person, it's not just gonna go away. Why? Because you thought these thoughts for so long that it festered into some type of nerve pinching, into some type of joint pain. And every time that joint pain comes up, you may hit your elbow on the table. These resentments get popped up into your head again. I only know these things, okay? Because I've been through it. Before I jumped on YouTube, I was on TikTok, I was losing the weight. I told you guys that I was doing the front kicks to help alleviate my lower back. I had crazy lower back pain. A lot of my lower back pain came from anger, because I was angry at I was living in this certain neighborhood, and these neighbors were just I had so much anger. I had violence. A lot of like lower back pain I read in books, just in spiritual books. Back pain, sciatica, nerve endings down that run from the lower back into your legs. A lot of it is just holding on to thoughts of anger and violence, and just blaming people for your hurt and your pain, and in turn you want to get back at them, whether it's through some kind of physical violence or like, just showing them up. Violence a lot of times ends up in some crazy ass back pain. So I had extreme amounts of violence towards my neighbors, and the way I healed it was, one, I had to continuously forgive them. Continuously. In the Bible it says, how much times they asked Jesus, how much time do I forgive them? 70 times 770. You gotta keep forgiving. When the situation pops up in your head, or when you start to feel yourself thinking about the situation, or you feel yourself like you start to talk about it towards other people, some people will loop the same story over and over and over. And a lot of times you gotta continuously forgive. You gotta forgive. The more you forgive, the more your thoughts do not trigger an emotional reaction. You can kind of just think about it and you say, oh, I forgave it already. I saw that situation in my head. I forgave the person. I let it go. The more and more you forgive the situation, you forgive the person, the more and more you take away the emotional trigger. And the more and more you take away the emotional trigger, the more you slowly take it away, the more you take away the emotional trigger from these thoughts, these resentments, the more your body is not going to respond to this anger, to this resentment. And that's how the body gets healed, okay? Now the second portion is, as you continuously forgive the individuals, you forgive the situations, you got to look directly into the mirror and you got to forgive yourself. A lot of times, like I said, while I was thinking about hurting these individuals that hurt me, dude, you see the shadow boxing, you see the jumping rope. A lot of what I do is based out of fear and based out of revenge. That when I catch these motherfuckers, when I catch them one-on-one on the street, bro, they're gonna get a piece of my mind and they're gonna be like, damn, I wish I never did that to Chezzy Boy. On top of me feeling bad, he fucking whooped my ass. I really wanted that revenge, and a lot of my time was spent I wanted to show up people that thought I wouldn't amount to nothing. So I thought fighting, being a great mixed martial artist, doing all these things, I thought it would show people up. And I had to get rid of all of that. It's like, dude, I was on this daily grind and my body would be aching, but I would push through. Come on, let's grind so I could show these people up. And my body was continuously, I was like 28 years old and like my body was like aching. But, I was in good shape, but, my body was aching. And by the time I slowed down, the time when I got depressed, dude, everything I got fat, I got depressed, the body just started to ache and pain. Back when I was like 33, before I made the transformation again. So you spend all this time really thinking about these thoughts festered into joint pains, into throat pains, headaches, back pain, knee pains. You spend all this time thinking all this negativity. That's your karma. You could have spent this time forgiving the person and then building something else, but you spent your life. Some people spend like years, bro, thinking about how this person did me wrong, not letting it go. And everything that they do in their lives is just to one up this person or to show them up. Or when I see you on the streets, you're going to see what I built. You're going to see what I can do. Just to, like, these people don't even give a fuck. So what you got to do is you got to look in the mirror and you got to say, I forgive you for all the actions, for all the thoughts that you partaked in to try and show these people up. I forgive you for just dwelling into this negativity. And I forgive you for just being angry, for being violent. Now, on the other end, if something did happen to you, I don't want to speak on it too much because it's not really my experiences. But if you were a victim of someone, yeah, you got to forgive that individual. Some things are hard. I've been around a lot of people. And, I've met when I had my gym, I met some people, they couldn't really lose the weight. They really couldn't get into shape because they had some, like, victim shit. They were victims of, like, abuse, like, real bad abuse from, like, you could say, like, foster parents, step parents, abused by, like, their elders, the people that they trusted, abused in, like, physical ways. And I told them, you got to forgive them, man. And you got to look in the mirror and you got to say you are worthy of having this great life. You are worthy of being strong, being smart, being sharp, being positive. You don't have to carry this burden anymore. And I got to drill that in their head. And the more and more I drill that, I release the darkness from them. And then in turn, the more and more, they work out with me, they hear my words, I tell them, forgive yourself, forgive the individual. They start to get lighter in their mood, and their body starts to feel lighter. Everything starts to feel lighter. I first witnessed this back when I was like 24 years old, right? You guys kind of seen I have a tattoo of a rose on my chest, a big one. I have a tattoo of a rose on my elbow. I have like these tattoos. I have my grandma's name. All of it is for my grandma. I had a lot of resentments. I carried a lot of resentments about my grandma. She passed away, and I wasn't that great of a grandson. I was a knucklehead. And then when I got to trying to open up a business, I was really about my money, really about trying to grow things. I really put my family to the wayside. My grandma really needed me, just to be there to spend time. So when she passed away, I carried a lot of resentments, a lot of tattoos. I tried to get as much tattoos in memory of her to kind of like dull out the pain. And so I was with this church group. One of my clients was a pastor at this church, so we went to we had this whole thing, this 2-day event for the church. We stayed at a hotel. We just, men and women, split up. We kind of talked. And then there was one point after the first night of the event, we went out, me and the boys and the pastor, we went out to a burger spot in Waikiki. So that everybody's talking, oh yeah, how was it, this and that. Of course, some things came up during the event that was like kind of touching on my heart, kind of touching on my subconscious, the things that I resented myself for. And then, we sat down, and the pastor looked at, I was sitting across from him. We were about to eat our burgers. He looked at me. He's like, so Ches, what are some things that was touching your heart? And he said it in such a way that, that resentments I had towards myself, that hate I had towards myself for being such a piece of shit grandson, it fucking tapped me. And I started to cry. Oh, I was crying. Okay? I was crying. All my friends, all of us, even he kind of tried to hold his tears in because, he was kind of like guiding the conversation. But all of my friends, all of us who were there on that table, there was like 8 of us. They all started crying. I was talking about my grandma, how like, I had my gym. I was trying to be this dude, but I missed out on time with my grandmother. I got all these tattoos to kind of dull out the pain. I was drinking, working out. Dude, at that time, I was popping like 500 burpees, like with ease, man. CrossFit burpees. And like burpees weren't even a thing on YouTube yet. And like on top of that, I was running, push-ups. Like, when I had my gym, I had my clients, there was a point where I kind of understood that a lot of the workouts, a lot of this crazy shit I was doing was to dull out the pain of my resentments. And, as we were talking through it, I was crying at this fucking burger place in Waikiki, dude, in front of all these tourists. Me. And at this time, I was bald. I had my neck tattoos. I was this dude already. And as soon as we were done talking, I said everything. He was like, Ches, you got to forgive yourself. Forgive the situation. Ask for forgiveness. Ask God, Jesus, all this other stuff. And as soon as, I was already in my subconscious. Everything was like blaring already. I just like on top, I was just crying. And he dug into that fucking heart spot. And as soon as I truly asked for forgiveness, we said a prayer, helping me to ask for forgiveness. As soon as we were done, it was like this weight just came off of my shoulders. And it was, everything just it just like disappeared. So that was one thing on how one thing I got over. A lot of you guys have resentments because you guys had this dream and then you just chose to just eat like shit, be lazy. You gotta forgive yourself and just be like, you know what, today's a new day. I'm gonna do my best to push forward and constantly forgiving. Like I said, some of you guys have resentments from your parents, from friends, about how they held you back or how they treated you wrong. You gotta forgive them, dude. Fuck it, you're a man. I don't want to say you're this big burly dude, but yes, you are a man. You gotta be strong, and you gotta be strong enough to forgive these individuals. Let them go, and just say, you know what, this happened, this point in my life, in our lives, you did this to me, and I forgive you. And I have no hate towards you. I hope you have a good life. I'm gonna go on and live mines, build mines. Once you do that, look in the mirror. Open your eyes from your meditation. You look in the mirror. You say, Ches, I forgive you for holding on to these thoughts. But it's time for us to build something new. Let's let go of it. Let's build something new for you, your loving partner, your kids. And once you kind of do that continuously, you're going to feel your body, all these aches and pains. A lot of people have throat pains. It associates with the chakra. If you're too busy fucking talking shit, your throat's going to be sore. That's just what it is. If you have constant headaches, a lot of it is just you're just thinking about all this violence, all this confusion, all this pain. And like I said yesterday with the hypnotic rhythm, one negative thought leads to another negative thought, to another negative thought. And then when you start speaking these negative thoughts, you're going to have chest pain because in your heart, you're holding all these resentments, this anger. Then you're going to start speaking this anger. You're going to start speaking, oh yeah, this guy did this to me. This guy did this to me. Oh, your throat's going to be dry. It's going to be sore because you're too busy talking shit. Once you start speaking forgiveness, you start speaking love, all these things are going to slowly, it says it in the Bible, dude. When you start to forgive, all of your physical ailments are just going to slowly slip away. And the more and more you forgive yourself, the more and more you fill yourself with this light, the more and more these resentments are going to leave you. Then you're going to realize, damn, everything that I did in my life was to show someone up. But once everything is gone, all this pain, all this resentment, all this negativity, you're going to be like, oh, you can build something new now. You're going to have much more clarity of mind. And once you let go of this resentments, believe me, clarity of mind is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. This is why I can kind of just speak and flow. Same thing with my movements. I can flow. I can kind of like go on about my day. Dude, people can just randomly pop up, Ches, we got to do this. Okay, let me just move some things around. I can flow throughout my day because I've let go of a lot of things. So you got to let these resentments go. You got to forgive these people. You got to bless them. You got to just hope and pray that they have a good life. You got to look in your mirror. You got to look in the mirror. You got to forgive yourself. You got to hope and pray for you and just forgive yourself for holding on to these resentments. And just tell yourself from here on out, we're just going to love people, going to love me, and we're going to build something new. And that's just what it is, man. And with that, just always remember, right? Train hard and be kind. Let's go.